Now I come to a short visit to Korea, and there is talk about impeachment. So I do hope it has nothing to do with me. But as we are talking today about security, I think there is a connection. Security and political cooperation is the first part of this seminar. And I would not like to miss the opportunity to best wishes for 140 years, which is much longer than any of us will live. So this is a very, very nice occasion. By professional deformation, perhaps, when I see security and politics, then as a former EU ambassador, I would like to recall that we are talking in a European framework. The European framework in security is, of course, the strategic compass. And within the political and security cooperation, we also should be aware of the Indo-Pacific strategy of the European Union. We should also be aware of the project enhancing security cooperation in and with Asia. We should be aware of the maritime security, which is particularly important for Korea. And then we have also the global gateway, which has the advantage that it gives some money to the ideas which are laid down in these various policy papers. Without further ado, I would like then to invite the various speakers. And I think the assignment I have is a little bit a difficult one, because the only way to get you through by 12 o'clock approximately is to be nasty. Because the speakers would like to probably talk longer than 10 minutes, and the commentators would like to talk longer than 5 minutes. So I will try my best to be friendly, nasty, and would like to start then with Antonio. Very happy to see you back here. And we would have met probably next week in Bologna, but because of some changes, I'm glad that we could meet here. So without further ado, go ahead, and please be reminded after 10 minutes. I will try to do it like in the European Parliament, just cut off your microphone.
Thank you very much. First of all, I will use my first 20 seconds to express my gratitude to all of you for being here, to the Italian Embassy, of course, to Her Excellency Ambassador Gatto, and of course to Professor Kim Seong and all my colleagues at Lewis, and of course to Hankuk University of Foreign Studies. I used to teach here actually long ago, I would say, but I spent 3 years teaching at this university, and it was an excellent time for me. So what I'm gonna do today is trying to introduce you to the chapter I contributed. That is on politics and diplomacy. So interconnections between Italy and Korea on the side of politics and diplomacy. To tell you the truth, actually, when I was proposed to write this chapter, I actually was very happy, because for somebody who studies Korean politics, I actually said it's going to be, something I will be doing in 2 days. But actually it was not like that, especially because what I noticed in writing this chapter was that actually when it comes to economics, interconnections between these two countries are pretty much advanced, while when it comes to political connections, actually, we are still, kind of lagging behind. I'm not saying politics is not important. What I'm saying is that these two countries have started to be pretty much intertwined from the economic point of view. So actually, I'm skipping all the historical background so that Ambassador Reiterer is happy about that. Historical notions have already been remembered, so I will not actually add anything to that. But while writing my chapter, I actually thought that eventually the only possibility I had was to try to look at this kind of relationship from a chronological point of view. So the first thing I actually became interested in was Kim Dae-jung visit, President Kim Dae-jung visit to Italy in March of 2000, because that was the first visit to Italy by a South Korean president. And actually that specific visit was not only important because it was the first one, but it was also pretty much important because it paved the way to this kind of economic and political cooperation between Italy and Korea, and on top of that, actually, because of the implementation of the Sunshine Policy, what Kim Dae-jung was doing was trying actually to persuade European actors to support the Sunshine Policy, and when it comes to that, we all know to what extent actually Italy was pretty much important with Foreign Minister Bertolini, paving the way for this cooperation with North Korea. After that, actually, the relationship intensified under President Roh Moo-hyun. Of course, actually, he was basically coming from the same political camp as his predecessor. So eventually, when President Roh Moo-hyun came to Italy, basically, the discussion went on the same aspects, that is actually consolidating this kind of bilateral cooperation and eventually signing agreements to come closer in several fields, especially science and technology were pretty much important in that specific moment. After that, actually, it was the turn of President Napolitano, the first Italian president to Korea. So what happens is that President Lee Myung-bak goes to Italy in order to participate to the G8 conference in July 2009, and then actually this visit was reciprocated by President Napolitano, the first Italian president, who paid an official visit to Korea in 125 years since the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. And that was a very important meeting, actually, very important visit, because of course, of the reciprocation and the possibility that actually an Italian president paid a state visit, a formal visit to South Korea. And then the next president was President Park Geun-hye. And of course, actually, she went to Italy to participate in the biennial Asia-Europe meeting held in Milan at that point. I must admit that actually Park Geun-hye's visit was pretty much important. Again, not only because of these very fruitful cooperation in the economic sphere, but also because actually Park Geun-hye was trying to get Italian support and European support at large to give implementation to her trust politique strategy in order to reconnect with North Korea again. And actually something that appears very clearly by reading the documents is that actually Park Geun-hye was pretty much confident in actually obtaining this kind of support from European partners. On top of that, actually, boosting cooperation in trade and investment was pretty much relevant for President Park Geun-hye. And then, as Professor Kim has already highlighted during his remarks, under the presidency of Moon Jae-in, the cooperation actually was elevated in a sense, because actually Moon Jae-in, first of all, was the first South Korean president who visited Italy twice. This was particularly important. He had the possibility to meet with President Mattarella to discuss issues related to the Korean Peninsula, as well as possible forms of cooperation in trade and commerce. But what happened was that actually this cooperation was elevated to the so defined strategic partnership that actually implies a more important cooperation between the two countries I'm talking about on several topics and several dimensions. And why actually, why this bilateral relationship is important, and then I'll come to the end of my presentation. As I was saying at the very beginning, what I think is that up to this moment, political and diplomatic relations have been traditionally negligible if compared to economic and trade cooperation between the two countries. Nonetheless, actually, the two countries have started recently to nurture this more intimate institutional cooperation. It is pretty much important, for example, that actually Italy was one of the first countries in Europe to actually trying to cooperate with North Korea for the sake of the peninsula. That is pretty much important, actually. It was not, Italy kind of opening North Korea per se, but actually the objective was to find to create a favorable environment. And of course, when it comes to this kind of strategic partnership, actually we're talking about deeper political and security and economic cooperation. And of course, this has become pretty much important. From a theoretical point of view, actually, I do think, even though actually this is not highlighted in the chapter, but
you are already in overtime.
I'm closing. What I do think is that, as it has been said by Her Excellency the Ambassador, we're talking about two similar countries. And actually, these two similar countries are very similar and theoretically speaking can be defined as middle powers. So eventually having this kind of ambition to redefine the landscape, the political landscape in which basically they live from a multitude, from several points of view. That is rule of law, democracy and peace, free trade, multilateralism, and of course shared rules. And I think that these two countries should work in that specific direction. I thank you very much, and I'm sorry, Michael.
Well, thank you very much. You owe me 1 minute. But you brought